mainstream candidates. I like to say that. Usually, again, in many countries, you have two mainstream political parties and candidates. In the case of Nigeria, now we seem to have a third force. The fourth force is not doing much. So, and who are the leading candidates? Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu of Lagos, and Peter Obi, former governor of Anambra State.
So you acknowledge that he's now a contender in this election?
We are very, very practical human beings. I'm a Democrat. I'm not going to disparage anybody. It's a third force. But how forceful is that force is the question.
But you're underestimating what you describe as a fourth candidate.
No, I'm not. It's obvious. I mean, even to have a third force is difficult. If Peter Obi is struggling, then the number 4 would have to struggle more. So, if you give me the chance, I will analyze it.
By what criteria have you said that, that Peter Obi is struggling?
He is definitely struggling. You see, a presidential race is a marathon. It's a long-distance race. It takes time to build up. Even Chief M.K. Abiola, a lot of people who don't know the history of Nigeria thought he just came in 1993 with all his stupendous wealth and he won the election. No. In 1981, he was in MPN. He had loads of money, just like Tinubu today, but he was a businessman. He was not a career politician. He wanted to be president, and he was told the presidency is not for sale. Most people, most money bags who come into politics always feel it's all about money. But they told MKO, it's not about your money. And he went away quietly to rebuild and came back in 1993, 12 years after. And that was when he was able to do it. So those who are running today, okay, they are new on the stage. Presidential stage is a massive stage. Tinubu had always played at the regional level. In Lagos, at the very best. Even in the whole of the Southwest, he had always been challenged. He didn't have the aura, the intellect, the personality of an Abiola or an Awolowo. So that is why I said it's going to be difficult for any of them to match Atiku Abubakar. Atiku Abubakar started the race in 1993. The first time I set my eyes on him was at the SDP convention in Jos, where he was persuaded to step down for Abiola. And that's when I started noticing the Democrat in him. He stepped down quietly. He went back home. He didn't throw tantrums like we see some people today who see politics as a matter of life and death. It's a charge of destiny. He went away. And by 1999, he came back. He had already won the election to be governor of his state. But as fate will have it, he came back, he was elected by General Olusegun Obasanjo, and he became the vice president. So it tells you something about the man. And if you study his trajectory since then, you will see that he's a true Democrat. Today, he's the only one who has built that network of bridges. As I told you, even in smaller countries like Ghana, President John Ajekum Kufuor contested 3 times before he became president. President Jonathan Mills contested 3 times before he became president. The current president of Ghana, Nana Akufo-Addo, contested 3 times. In Liberia.
So, I mean, I understand all of the instances that you're trying to bring up. Everybody will say that.
Dele Momodu, the Director of Strategic Communication of People's Democratic Party Presidential Campaign Council, want Nigerians and the world to believe that the success of a presidential candidate depends on how long he has been campaigning and failing. That is not true. Based on that analysis, he wants us to believe that because Atiku Abubakar have been contesting for president since 1980s, Therefore, he's a better and more likely candidate to win because I've been around for so long. That is not necessarily the case. And I will prove it here that it is not necessarily the case that you have to contest for president for several times and lost. And then before you win, then it becomes a big deal. For a start, Peter Obi, the subject of this discussion, contested for governor for the first time in 2003 and he won. And history is about to repeat itself in his presidential contest right now. Now, I will give a few examples. He has cited some presidential candidates in Ghana who contested several times before they won. Well, let me tell him what he don't know or what he didn't want people to know. And I want all of us to be aware of this. In April 2016, Emmanuel Macron, the current president of France, he was a minister, a serving minister in France. He established what he called a march, a movement. It's almost like similar to the obedient movement. But you know, the obedient movement in Nigeria was actually organic. But this one, Emmanuel Macron formed a mass, a movement. 4 months later, he resigned from the ruling party and from the government. Take note of this. That was in 2016. That was when, April 2016, that's when he formed a mass. This movement he formed was later to become a political party, La République en Marche. He later changed his name to La République en Marche. Now, why this is significant and to disprove what Dele Momodu was saying. By May 2017, with a new party, different from the two dominant parties in France, Emmanuel Macron became the youngest president since Napoleon in France. He left a government party just as Peter Obi left PDP and moved to Labour Party. Emmanuel Macron left a government party and formed a mass. 4 months later, he resigned. Because when he formed out this movement, he was disregarded that he's not going to do anything. The major party, the ruling party didn't think that Emmanuel Macron posed any threat. But a year later, that is the party Emmanuel Macron used in becoming the president of France. That was his first election. And he contested with a new and unpopular, a party that was not known before. But it was galvanized by the youths of France and then the marginalized communities that saw hope in what the new France that Emmanuel Macron was talking about. So you can contest for president of a country for the first time and win. You don't have to be a serial loser of presidential election like Atiku Abubakar to become a veteran presidential candidate. So he's wrong in using all those analogy that you have to that the Atiku that Peter Obi is new. Therefore, he can't win now. He has to fail so that he can win in later years. No, he can contest this election and win, and he's going to win this election based on the opinion polls that have been coming out, based on the feelings on the streets of Nigeria. Okay, so it is doable. It is doable. In fact, the Emmanuel Macron's victory in France is a mirror of what Peter Obi is about to do in Nigeria. Because if you look at it, Peter Obi moved from a major party, PDP, and moved to Labour Party that's relatively unknown, and was able to galvanize a movement that is propelling Labour Party to the presidency in less than a year. Okay? Then let me also give another example of somebody who contested for the first time, the president of his country, and won. Barack Obama was a senator in Illinois, United States. His first attempt at contesting for president was in 2008, and he won. So there is no law has ever been made yet that say that you cannot contest for president in your first try and win it. Even back home here, we have some examples we can give to Dele Momodu and those who think like him. President Olusegun Obasanjo, his first time of contesting for president in the history of Nigeria was in 1999, and he won. He won. You can even go further. In 1979, Shehu Shagari, it was his first time of contesting for president in 1979. In fact, Shehu Shagari himself initially wanted to be a senator. He was a senatorial candidate that he was before they pushed him to the presidency. It was his first presidential election, and he won. He defeated veterans like Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe of the NNPP and Chief Olusegun Obasanjo, Chief Obafemi Awolowo of UPN. So it is not true that you have to be a serial contestant for president without winning it to prepare yourself to eventually win it as last, like Buhari did. No. You can win it on your first attempt. And we have records of people who have done that in Nigeria. Shagari did it. Chief Olusegun Obasanjo did it. Even Umaru Musa Yar'Adua, the late president of Nigeria, 2007 was his first attempt at contesting for presidency, and he won. Goodluck Jonathan, 2011 was his first time of contesting for president, and he won. So Dele Momodu is wrong. So he's deceiving Nigerians by thinking that Atiku Abubakar had some kind of advantage by being a serial failure in his presidential contest. The reason Atiku has been failing is because he has not been able to connect with the Nigerian people. If you connect with the Nigerian people, address the issues and they trust you, you can win on your first attempt as presidential contest, which is exactly what Peter Obi is about to do this year. Then there's another thing Dele Momodu said. He said that Peter Obi is struggling. He said that Peter Obi is struggling in the race right now. I don't know where he got that information from. But if you look at the opinion polls that have been coming out since last year and the recent ones that have been coming out, it doesn't show that Peter Obi is struggling. Peter Obi is moving ahead. He has been able to stamp his authority even in places they never believed that he'll be able to stamp his authority, especially in northern Nigeria. He's running neck to neck with Tinubu in the southwest. He is untouchable in the southeast and south-south. He's speeding away in the north central. That cannot be said. The same thing cannot be said about Atiku Abubakar. It's Atiku Abubakar that is actually struggling because 5 governorship candidates of his party abandoned him. Right now, Atiku Abubakar has no pathway to presidency. I have done a video on it to show that Atiku Abubakar has no pathway to presidency. He cannot win. He will not win. He will not be president. There's no pathway for him. Peter Obi has knocked him out in the PDP hitherto stronghold, south, and southeast, and in north central. Even in his state in Adamawa, which has been confirmed by former Secretary to the Federal Government, Bashir Lawal, Peter Obi is knocking him out of his state. So he's the one struggling because right now, Atiku Abubakar is hoping that APC, the only thing he's hoping on now to even get any significant vote is that APC governors will abandon Tinubu. APC governors in the north will abandon Tinubu, and out of tribal affinity, vote for him. And he's relying on alleged support from some cabal, allegedly, in the presidential villa, which Yeso Wike, the governor of Rivers State, has alluded to recently. So he's hoping, it's just like a man who failed to qualify, a team that failed to qualify in their group to qualify for the second round in a World Cup. So he's now praying that let the next team, one of the teams, so that they can beat another team, so that they can be able to have a way for him, hoping that another team will help them to move ahead. When you're supposed to win your opponents, now you are depending on the other teams to win another team for you, so that you can get a space to move ahead. So that is exactly what Atiku Abubakar is waiting for now, hoping that the APC governors from northern Nigeria will, out of ethnic affinity, out of a desire to retain power in the north, out of what Atiku said the other time when he was speaking to a northern group in Kaduna, that what the north need is a northern presidential candidate or a northern president. That is basically what Atiku is relying upon right now. That somehow northern APC governors will abandon will abandon Tinubu and make a way out for him. Because Atiku Abubakar is not appealing to Nigerians. His record in terms of transparency and accountability, which has already been summarized by his former boss, President Olusegun Obasanjo, has done a lot to create the image and impressions Nigerians have of him. Nigerians do not believe that he deserves to be president right now, especially at a time when Nigeria is facing serious economic problem, and they want a leader that is transparent, a leader that will be honest, a leader that will preserve the resources of Nigerians without allowing it to be mismanaged. So Dele Momodu didn't get it right. It is his presidential candidate, Atiku Abubakar, that is actually struggling. And the recent polls, especially the latest one by Sears, has also confirmed it, that Peter Obi is the man to beat. So he is not struggling. Let Dele Momodu and Atiku's henchmen go back to the drawing board to see how they can resuscitate his campaign. But already it's too late. What can they do in barely 3 weeks to the all-important presidential election? Thank you for watching this video. And if you are new to my channel and you have not yet subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel. Hit the subscription button, hit the notification bell. When you subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell, anytime I have a new video, you'll be among the first to know. God bless you. And please don't forget to like this video, because when you like this video, Google will rank it high and recommend it for more people. With more people seeing it, they will see the need to support Peter Obi so that he can be able to become the next president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria come February 25th, 2023. Thank you and God bless you.